What? The what?
The
what? Brownie points for what? Boy, this is different. You're a private citizen, and I still can't get rid of you.
Yeah. Well, see, you're an influencer.
I'm an agitator.
Well, yeah.
I'm an agitator.
You're something. You're a few things.
I'm a few things. We won't mention these bad words here.
All right.
Okay. Miramichi. By the way, Atlantic Salmon Conservation Foundation. What's that?
We're an organization.
By the way, can you remove that mask?
No.
Remove that mask.
No,
it's green. It's green now.
What?
I just interviewed the minister with no mask on and everything.
Yeah. Well, that's his issue. Yeah. Yeah. Stephen Chase speaking to Charles LeBlanc.
It's all right. Who wants to see your face anyway? Keep on going.
That's right. So your question?
Yes. My question is, what is that?
Our organization?
Yeah.
Well, we grant money to conservation groups, First Nations researchers, for Atlantic salmon conservation.
First Nation, don't they get money from the federal government to?
Well, they do. Yeah.
So where do you get your money?
We have a trust fund, and the trust fund generates income, and we use the income to support conservation projects.
So you do fundraiser? How do you?
No, we don't know. We have a trust fund. That's where the money comes from.
What, a third world country selling drugs, or how do you get that?
Yeah, Alibaba. Okay.
Okay. No problem. So go ahead. So you have a trust fund.
Yeah. So you asked me about Miramichi Lake.
Yeah. What is it? What is this? So what you do?
My view of that. Well, this has gone on for about 10, 12 years, and
the bass.
Somebody introduced smallmouth bass into Miramichi Lake, and the smallmouth bass are not native, to New Brunswick. They were imported years ago, and they definitely are.
They go after the salmon.
They go after the salmon, trout, and everything else. So, and they were put into the lake purely for recreational fun. Somebody thought it was a good idea. Probably didn't.
Hold it. Some idiot thought it was a good idea?
Well, they might be an idiot, but they probably didn't understand the consequences of what they were doing. So for the 13 years since these fish were discovered in the lake, it really has become necessary to do something about it. And for a couple of years, in the early years, 2009 or 10, our foundation actually put money in to the project there to contain the smallmouth bass within Miramichi Lake so they wouldn't escape into the Miramichi River system. So the issue is this. These smallmouth bass have now, at this point, several years later, have actually escaped into the Miramichi River system, and they're threatening the viability of the wild Atlantic salmon, trout, and other fish.
So what's more important, the tourism part to fish bass, or the tourism part to fish salmon?
That isn't the issue. The issue is we have native fish, salmon and trout, that we should be protecting. That is the primary concern, is to protect the native fish species. It's a secondary.
It's funny how you mentioned native first.
Well, they are native because
do you think you'll get more attention or more sympathy if you put native salmon and trout?
They are natural to New Brunswick.
Yeah, that's true.
These salmon and trout. The smallmouth bass is not natural to New Brunswick.
So how come so many people fish it?
Well, because they're here.
Easy
but
to
they were never in Miramichi Lake before, say, 15, 20 years ago. But somebody thought it was a good idea.
So yesterday they put a stop to it. They were supposed to poison all the bass.
Yeah, and it really, it's a drastic measure. Okay, it is. Nobody questions that. But it's a drastic circumstance that these bass have already been found in the Miramichi River, and they will wipe out native fish that have been there for thousands of years.
Okay, so what happened that they stopped it yesterday?
I'm not familiar with the detail of how or why it was stopped, but the people that are protesting the use of the rotenone substance their concern is misplaced, because what they're doing is they're preventing,
Misplaced or misguided?
well, either misplaced, misguided. You know, what they need to do is consider what's more important: protecting fish populations that have existed for thousands of years in the river system.
Yeah, but we never.
Or protecting, you know, a few smallmouth bass that shouldn't be there in the first place.
So what you guys do with that trust fund? Where do you put it? Where do you put it to save the salmon? Do you send it to Greenland?
No. I mean, we grant funding to community groups and First Nations all over Atlantic Canada and Quebec. We provide project money.
So there's no, you say thousands a year. We never had these huge trawlers offshore.
That's right.
We had, you know where the Statue of Liberty, you know how high the Statue of Liberty is? The nets of the trawler is about 20 times bigger than the Statue of Liberty.
Well,
so the salmon don't stand a chance.
That's another issue.
But
you know,
is that the reason the salmon goes down? You blame it on the bass.
Let me deal with this. There are lots of threats facing wild Atlantic salmon. There's no question, okay? There's no need to continue an avoidable threat of smallmouth bass in Miramichi Lake or the Miramichi system if it can be dealt with through poisoning the lake and removing those fish, okay? It's removing one other threat, you know, to the wild Atlantic salmon.
So where the Miramichi River starts, that's where the bass goes in, right?
Well,
the ocean,
yeah, Miramichi Lake is fairly well up the Miramichi River.
So how the hell, if you do that, the bass going to keep on coming?
Well, no, I mean, unless people keep putting them in, and that's the issue. Somebody put these bass into the lake thinking it was a great idea, and it's not.
Interesting. By the way, have you seen the idiot mayor, former idiot mayor, Michael Ryan around?
No comment.
Still no comment?
Well, that's because I haven't seen him. So
you haven't seen him? He hasn't talked to you? He hasn't called you? He hasn't sent you an email? No. Have a beer, have a coffee? No. You enjoy your private life?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
You enjoy it so much, you shouted at me when I walked by.
I don't even mind running into you now and again. Yeah.